Hello everybody and welcome back to the ranch. My name is April and I am the Wolf Ranch Girl. And today you guys are joining me on our back porch, aka our dog room. And this video is on a week of new things. So it's the second week of summer vacation. Today is June 9th, and baseball has kept us super duper busy, but I was determined this week to do some things that I had never done before. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you'll know that I received as a gift from another teacher in school a sourdough starter. In that same time frame, I made my first order of einkorn flour. So one of my goals for the summer was to try and find balance with getting, excuse you, oh my goodness. All of the dogs are here in the dog room with me. Find some balance into getting back into cooking mostly at home. So, but baking is not a part of that. Like, I'm not a baker. I can cook, but I haven't really dabbled into baking. But we have been so busy with the kids' sports that we really have been eating out a lot and haven't even had a break that's been long enough for me to put together a plan, like a meal plan. So right now we have our garden going and food should be starting to come in from there. Actually, I have some kale that I can go and cut right now. I've harvested some basil and so on and so forth. But it doesn't matter if I'm growing food if I'm not able to cook it at home. So here are the things that I did this week. So I switched over to einkorn flour, which I'll let you guys do your own research. Let me reach over and grab this. But einkorn flour is an ancient grain that has not been hybridized. So it has not been put through any kind of changes. It is the same that it was 1,000 years ago. It has a lower gluten content, and so it's supposed to be easier on your digestive system, which I don't have a gluten allergy. My digestive system is not a happy digestive system, so I am trying to remedy that, and I'm hoping that the einkorn flour will help with that, along with not eating out and eating less processed foods like I used to, and then also adding in some fermentations and vinegar. So I'm going to, at some point in time, try to make my own sauerkraut, which I do not care for at all, but I've listened to several recipes and several people on YouTube who say that homemade sauerkraut tastes nothing like store-bought sauerkraut. And the only thing I've ever tried is store-bought. So I'm willing to try that out. So anyway, here is my sourdough starter. So you can see it is super happy and bubbly. And right now it is inactive because I've had it in the refrigerator because this is the busiest week of baseball that we have. So I didn't want to lose it, so I put it in the refrigerator until I have time to cook with it again. So what I've done is I started with that small amount of starter, and then I have fed it by adding flour and water daily until I got to this point. And so now I have a usable amount. I started with a half cup, and now I probably have 4 cups in here. So I have so far made pancakes, sourdough pancakes, that were very good. I need to try it again because they were really flat instead of puffy, and the recipe said that they would be puffy, but I think that my starter was too watery. So I think I figured out that problem. The next thing that I tried to make and did well at is homemade English muffins. So I will insert a video of me eating one right after I made them. And I followed the recipe from Becca Bristow, and you can find her on YouTube. And they were super easy. And they were so good. And so I have 3 left out of the 11 that the batch made. And I've just cut them and put them into the toaster and had them with egg sandwiches in the morning. And they have been really good. And then the next item that I'm super proud of, because I tried to make sourdough sandwich bread last weekend, I think it was, and it did not turn out good at all. It was terrible, but I didn't do anything right. I didn't do anything right. So I was determined to do it right this time, and I actually found a video from Ben Starr, Starr, and I followed his to a T, and it was great. I still use the einkorn flour. I use all-purpose einkorn flour instead of whole wheat einkorn flour because that is what he suggested, and everything worked great. So let me show you. So this is a rock crock. Oh no, it's not. This is a stoneware crock from Pampered Chef, and it is the vessel that I cooked it in. And I did have 2 pieces of it this morning, but here it is. So it is so pretty, and I am so proud of it. Like, this is so edible, and I don't know, I'm just super proud of it. So I'm not gonna lift up the whole loaf, but I will lift up a piece of bread so that you can see the inside. So this is the inside, and I'll turn it kind of sideways so that you can see that it is squishy. It's not hard, and it bounces back. So it is a little bit more dense than a traditional sandwich bread, but this is pretty much exactly the same as what I would spend $4 or $5 a loaf for at the store. It has a sourdough taste. I'm just eating it. I tore a piece off of the piece that I just showed you, and it's not hard. It's not super duper sour, but I can tell that it's sourdough. And so if you guys are interested in making your own bread, sourdough specifically, check out that Ben Starr video because it is amazing. So I am trying to utilize sourdough and the einkorn flour, one, to reduce gluten, to be able to eat something that is ultimately unprocessed, and then sourdough is fermented, so it has those beneficial bacteria that are supposed to help your gut. And so that is why I am doing it. I am going to attempt to make gluten-free bread from scratch because we do have a child that does have celiac, and I'm scared for him to try the einkorn flour. I mean, celiac is different than a different type of allergy. It's an autoimmune disease. So if he does consume gluten, which sometimes he does, not generally at our house, but maybe out at restaurants or whatnot, then that's generally what happens, and he can tell. But I'm afraid to like actually give him some einkorn flour and say, hey, let me know if this bothers you. So I would not recommend doing that. So the other reason that we are out here on the back porch is because that is where our chest freezer is located. My husband and I have been homesteading for a couple years now, or moving in that direction, and last June his brother passed away from colon cancer. So at that point in time, we both really were very profoundly affected, as anybody would be, and paying attention to the things that we were eating and that we were buying and bringing home really took a priority. Now, I just told you that we've been eating out a lot. By a lot, I mean a couple times a week, not daily. We still cook at home, but I would really like to bring that down to every couple weeks or maybe a couple times a month. And then eating at home most of the time. So one of the things that we eat a lot is chicken. So we've already raised chickens. We have eggs. We have an abundance of eggs that we share with our family and friends. And then we also sell the excess. We raise cattle, grass-fed cattle. So we are able to harvest that every couple of years, and we have that. And then we also currently and in the past raise pigs and are able to harvest those, and we're getting ready to do that. The one thing that we hadn't done is meat birds. So I decided last fall that I wanted to try to raise meat birds. So I don't have a lot of interaction with the larger animals like the pigs and the cows. I mean, I feed them and everything like that, but as far as like daily interaction, I don't have a lot with them. So I wanted to do the chickens myself. And of course my husband helped, but I kept their, environment clean. I made sure that they got outside so that they could free range. I wanted these chickens to have the best life that they could have while they were here. Also keeping in mind that the ultimate purpose was to be able to feed me and my family the best possible food with the least possible processing. And this past Monday, we took the chickens in and harvested them. So we bought 20, we ended up with 19 chickens. And I obviously am not at the point where I am comfortable with harvesting them myself. So we went to a local Amish community where they have a poultry processing operation and had them done there. And yesterday we cooked one and it was so good. So I'll insert some video of that here. Ew. But this is one of our chickens that we raised. And we're going to rotisserie it in the oven or the air fryer. So like I said, we ended up with 19. We gave 3 to my parents, and so we had 15 left, or 16. I was really emotional about it when we first did it because, one, I didn't think that we could do it, and I guess worried about the lashback from people, especially local people, kind of maybe making fun of us because there's not a huge amount of homesteaders around here. But once, my youngest son took a bite and was like, "Mom, this is really good. Where did you get this from?" And I was able to say, "That's one of our chickens that we raised." And he was like, "Wow, this is so much better. This is the best chicken I've ever had." That made a huge difference to me. So I'm super proud of that, and I'm going to share it with you. Okay, so here we go. If I can get my dog to move out of the way. So, here. So this side is all chickens. There we go. That's a lot better. So here's one of our chickens. The average weight was 4.5 pounds. So we have a couple that are larger than that and a couple that are smaller than that. The one that we cooked in the air fryer last night was smaller than that. And then this is my bag for broth. And then over here is our beef, which we are starting to run low on. So this is incredibly fulfilling, more fulfilling than I ever thought that it would be. So like I said, this is incredibly fulfilling. It is more fulfilling than I ever thought that it would be. Both because I can understand the work that goes into it, the care that goes into it. Also just to know I don't have to rely on misinformation that food manufacturers sometimes put out. and also the expense on the budget. So I went ahead and figured everything up, from the cost of purchasing the chickens as chicks and raising them for about 8 to 10 weeks until they were at full maturity. So providing the organic feed that we provided. I did not calculate the produce that we gave them, because we did give them produce and vegetable scraps from, our home. And then the ability for them to be free range to a point, moved about to be able to eat from the grass and eat bugs and grass and all that kind of stuff. And then the processing fee, it ended up averaging about $10.25 per chicken, but they're organic. I know what they ate. I know how they lived. And I know that they are at the utmost nutrition. Therefore, that utmost nutrition value is going to be added to me and my family. So that you can't really calculate in value. So anyway, it was about $10.25 per chicken. And if you just go out and buy a whole fryer chicken at a random store, it's anywhere from $6 to $8. But that's non-organic. They have mostly spent their lives in a cage. You don't know what is in the feed. And then if you do get organic, then they're anywhere from $9 to $14. So I really felt that the value was pretty good, and I have 15 chickens in my freezer. Not only is that food for us to eat, but then I can also utilize the leftovers to make bone broth, which can be then used for rice or pasta or any number of things. So it has multiple uses. So that was the biggest new thing this week. And then the sourdough starter, the English muffins, and the sourdough bread. So I'm feeling pretty good about this week, and this stuff is all new to me. So if I can do it, then you can do it. So I hope that this video is encouraging to you, and that you guys try and do new things that maybe will give you the skill and the ability to be able to provide for yourself and your family, and have one more thing taken off of that store shopping list. So yeah, so until next time, I'll see you later.